Hi gang. We're going to do a little bit of a Yeet for dye episode. I got in my yak silk fiber from Kamaj Fiber Arts. I got 8 ounces of it. Now this is wickedly expensive, although I got a really good price from Kamaj. But I love this fiber and the way it takes dyes. It is absolutely amazing. This is like touching a cloud. It is so plush and lush and gorgeous. So I only have 8 ounces, but I'm going to take a chunk. Say about that much. And we're going to do a Yeet for dye. So this is the amount I'm going to have left over. And we're going to see how this dyes up. Now, because it is such a lush fiber, I do not want to felt it, so I'm just going to do it in my oven. So I've got my oven preheating to 400 degrees. Just going to shake this out a little bit to get that fiber nice and flat so it's not twisted up on itself. And I'm going to just pop it in the pan of water for now and let it start soaking that up because the silk really needs time to absorb the water. And I'll grab the dice and we'll figure out what we're doing. 1 second. All right, I got my dye towel laid out. So we're going to need a D6 to find out how many dyes we're using. Only 2? Well, that's no fun. D20. We need 2 numbers. It's a mystery. We don't get to know. So that would be a 6 and 5. Well, 5 and 6. I'll grab the dyes. So these would be our Country Classics dyes. I got these from Paradise Fibers. This one is Raven. And this one is Pumpkin. So we need 2 measuring cups. All right, I'm completely freehand in this. Now I found with the Country Classics, I had to use quite a bit of dye to get a color. So I'm just going to use up the last of this Raven. And for the pumpkin, we'll use about that much. No measuring here, guys. I'm completely freehanding it. So I got the water getting hot so I can mix those up and then we'll see about adding them to the pan. 1 sec. All right, I'm happy with the color of the Raven, which is a good thing because that's all I got. But I want to add some more pumpkin. Now, technically I should have added the pumpkin first and then the water, but I am literally winging it today. I'm just going to mix it really, really well. Okay, so that's our dyes mixed. I'm going to finish soaking the fiber and we will get to adding the dye. Now, here is the problem. This fiber is very hydrophobic, meaning it sheds water easily. So getting it wet takes a little time. Technically, silk should soak for 24 hours before you dye it, but since when have I ever been technical? If you have a fiber that does tend to be hydrophobic, squishing it underwater for some reason helps it absorb the water. Starting to get wet now. Now this is just cold water. I didn't want to risk felting it. So, well, not cold, but cool. Just gonna spread it out a bit now. I'm not upset if it's not all fully saturated because it's going to affect how it absorbs the dyes and lead to some like levels of coloring. I'm telling you guys, this, you talk about COVID brain. I've got menopause brain. Words are no good for me. All right, I'm just going to dump some of this water because I got a little too much in here. All right, there we go. I literally have just a little teeny bit of water in here, just enough to get it to float. And now we're going to take, can't believe we yeeted for dye and we got 2 whole colors. Huh. All right, so we're going to add these in. We're going to get a bloop here, a bloop here, and a bloop here. And then we're going to go opposite with the orange. We're going to bloop there, bloop there, bloop there. All right, where's my tongs? So that raven, I'm pretty sure, is going to come up as a purple, which with that orange could be pretty spectacular. Except the raven's just overwhelming everything. All right, well, we'll see what happens. I might mix up a little more orange. I added just enough water to be able to mix this up, so it's going to be very, very saturated. We're going to put that over here, and over here, and a little bit here, and a little bit here. Okay, there we go. Now we may still lose it all to the raven. Darn it all. Oh well. This is what happens when I think I'm smart and I'm not. But I'm going to get some tin foil to cover that with. Here we go. It's just basically to keep all the fluids from steaming off. It doesn't have to be a perfect cover. I have an assistant. Hold on. There he is. He's my helper today. Let me tell you, it's tricky to keep him out of the dyes. All right, I'm going to pop this in the oven. I've got it at 400 degrees Celsius. No, Fahrenheit. If it was Celsius, holy, the house would be burning down. 400 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to pop it in there. I'm going to set my first timer for probably 20 minutes. I'll check it. But because I started with cool water, I suspect at 20 minutes, it'll just be starting to get to the right temperature. Probably take another 20 more after that. But I'm going to pop it in the oven, set a timer, and we'll be back. So here we are after the first 20 minutes. It is getting this gorgeous bronze sheen to it, and the color is starting to exhaust, so it's obviously gotten warm enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw it back in for probably, well, hold on, let me test the temperature. Oh yeah, that can take another 20 minutes easy. So I'll throw it in for another 20 minutes. Then I'm going to pull it out and I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to let it cool completely to room temperature before I wash it up. And I think by then the dye bath will have fairly well exhausted. So I'm going to throw it back in the oven for another, I'm going to say 15 minutes, and I'll check it then. So I had to run out in the middle of filming, and it was before my time was up, so I just shut the oven off and I left this to sit in the oven. And it's been a couple hours. It's cooled down now. You can see there's still a little bit of color left in the water. I'm not too worried about that. I'm going to give this a bath. Just watered my foot. Just the way my day has been going. Not great. Alright. Squeeze the water out of that. Get some hot water going here. Grab my handy dandy Perk Plus. Definitely some nice orange tones in there. It's got a very bronzy hue to it. Alright, there we go. Should have put the water in first and then the soap in, because I just made myself a bunch of bubbles. I'm telling you, I picked the wrong day to go back to filming. Things have just been going wrong all day. Nothing major, just a bunch of little annoyances. All right. I'm just gently poking the fiber down. And you can see how it's just stripping all that color out of there. All right, that's probably good enough. Dump that out. Give this a squeeze. And fill her up for some rinses. With some cool little lighter spots. This has almost a bluey tinge to it. I think this is going to dry up really cool. Alright, we'll get it into our rinse water. And we'll just have to see if it's going to take another rinse to strip the last of that color out of there. Oh, for sure. Might even need another rinse wash. You can see how much color it really looks like pee in a bucket. All right. Add some soap. Mix it in this way so it's not as foamy. Sink this in there. And we're going to let it soak because it's still got a lot of dye in it. And we want to get that all out of there. So I'm going to leave it for 10 minutes or so. Then rinse it a few times and hopefully it'll run clear. And I'll put it out to dry. And I will come back when it's dry and show you the final result. See you then. Okay, the fiber is dry. Are you ready? Boom! There it is. It has this beautiful coppery orange finish to it. Now I meant to throw that pan out because little bits of the no stick coating are flecking off and now it's all through my roving, which is kind of annoying, but that's okay. Here's how our colors ended up. So the black didn't really break into much of a purple tone. We are getting a little bit of it through here. But for the most part, it's this beautiful bronzy brown with all this gold running through it. Like, look at this. The way that the the contrast between the way the silk takes the color and the way the yak takes the color. It's just, it's so pretty. It makes for this lovely depth of shade, and it gives it a bit of that glorious shine. Now, it did get a little bunched up in the processing, so I'll just go through and gently fluff it. And just grab it and give it a bit of a shake. And that just kind of loosens up those fibers so they'll lie a little better. You can really see the structure of roving in this situation because you can see how it was a sheet. And you can literally split it up the seams and lay it out. And you just want to gently tease it apart. Because there's such a radically different length in the fibers, you just want to be very careful so you don't disturb that blend. Just kind of tease it open. I wish you could feel this. It is so amazingly soft. You can give it a little gentle snap, and it just kind of fluffs out the fibers. So you go from this kind of matted looking mess, which it's not, it's just the way it's dried, and you can get it to fluff out again. And then they have all this glorious color. It turned out so pretty. I can't believe it actually worked with the disaster day I was having yesterday and how much the dyeing went awry. It actually came out really nice. And it did take a lot of rinsing to get it to run clear. But in the end, oh, look, you start popping it open and you start finding these little bands of lighter color right in the middle of it. Let's try it down here. Okay, so we have this section here, which looks pretty dark. So let's open it up and see what we have on the inside. Just split it open a little bit, and you start to see those spots where the dye didn't penetrate as deeply, and it gives it that gorgeous, gorgeous tonal look. I'm so pleased with how this turned out. I think it's really, really pretty. And it's going to spin up into like a bronzy sunset hue. It's going to be so pretty. I'm just going to kind of fluff it a bit. And then we'll put it into a braid and have a look at it that way. Okay. And then I got to get off to my next appointment. Oops, careful. And there's how it looks in braid form. You can see all those gorgeous tonal colors. I just think it turned out so pretty. Like, I can't believe it turned out this nice because it was a disaster. My technique was a disaster. Certainly not the fiber or the dye's fault. That was entirely me just being a little bit too cavalier, and yet it still turned out. It makes me so happy. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Yeet for Dye. I have to remember which ones I'm working on. This one was Yeet for Dye. And I hope you enjoyed it. Here's our final result. So pretty. I love how the orange really pops in this light. Oh, oh. Thanks for joining me, guys. And I'll see you on the next adventure. Dr. Chaos out.